snow through the pillars of the pale. Rest your feet, come and listen to the tales. Raise your mark to the legends of the frost. Through our songs they will never be lost. Tales that will never be lost, kept in the legends of the frost. Tales that will never be lost, kept in the legends of the frost.
Krusig achrin al thulok, o blancos tiraen orok, brena brunig sarot vadin, zemam mulken dofrin.
Tales that will never be lost, kept in the legends of the frost. Tales that will never be lost, kept in the legends of the frost.
Once and always a part of history, long remembered warriors be. Distant thunder echoes of the past, through our voices forever to last. So raise your mark to the legends of the frost. Through our songs they will never be lost. Raise your mark to the legends of the frost. Through our songs they will never be lost.
Thank you very much. stranger in that fair land to which I go. I'm going there to meet my father. Going there, no more to roam. I'm just a going over Jordan. Just a going over home. No dark clouds will gather around me. I know my way is rough and steep. The beauteous fields lie just before me, where God's redeemed their vigils keep. I'm going there to meet my mother. She said she'd meet me when I come. Just a going over Jordan. I'm just a going over home. I'm just a poor wayfaring stranger. I'm just a going over home.
Nothing I do or say can make you feel the way I do. It's plain as the day to me that we're through. Before it began, it seems about right. You turned and ran on my mind and out of sight. On my mind, out of sight. You can leave here tonight, never know that I'm not mad at what you haven't done. 'Cause baby girl, I had my fun, but I no longer wish you were here. And I can't say why, but I don't think I want you to die. So eat shit and live forever, my dear. Anytime I see your face, it makes me want to try a little bit more to see if you'll be mine. I don't care what people say, what they think they understand, but I've got no idea. I haven't got a plan. I really thought I had a plan. Not mad at what you haven't done. 'Cause baby girl, I had my fun, but I no longer wish you were here.
All right, kids. Sorry to keep you waiting for so long tonight. Bahamut is just getting home now. We're going to be starting here in just a few minutes, so sit tight, be ready to go. Don't go anywhere. On the line, going to be a little late tonight. We'll go a little late to compensate, but we're going to be starting here in just a few moments. Thank you for your patience, folks. Bahamut will be here very shortly. We'll see you soon. Twitch.tv/The Rob and Dan Show.
start to get close to animals that lived hundreds of millions of years ago. Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs weren't just giant lizards, but a truly unique kind of reptile. Weren't just giant lizards.
Dinosaurs roamed for more than 150 million years. Dinosaurs roamed in amazing shapes and sizes. Very few left evidence of their existence, and those bones never cease to fascinate us.
The more we find, the more complete our understanding, utterly awe-inspiring, the world of the dinosaurs.
There are always new discoveries out there, waiting to be found. Waiting to be found.
The more we find, the more complete our understanding, utterly awe-inspiring, the world of the dinosaurs.
Tyrannosaurus, the largest flesh eater the world has ever seen. The dinosaurs ratted all the dinosaurs, followed a well-trod trail to oblivion. Rock layers span the age of dinosaurs. The deeper the layer, the older the rock. At the top, rock from the Cretaceous. Below that, the Jurassic. And near the bottom, red Triassic badlands. When dinosaurs first appeared.
The more we find, the more complete our understanding, utterly awe-inspiring, the world of the dinosaurs.
65 million years ago, the meteorite smashed into the earth, hurtling toward our planet.
Good evening, folks. Dan here. We are getting set up for On the Line. Bahamut has arrived. We are happy to have him. We will bring him in just shortly as we drop the music down a little bit further and pull his audio up. Hey, DJB, how you doing?
Pretty good, man.
All right.
How does everything sound, by the way?
It sounds all right.
Does it sound okay?
Yeah.
I'm using a different microphone.
I just have to balance you out a little bit with everything else that's going on. So we're going to go ahead and go to the cameras here and hope most things are lined up. Most things are lined up.
That's good.
Oh.
Yeah. I went to the Guitar Center and I bought a new boom mic so I could finally use my MXL 990 again.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I got like a regular mic setup like I'm used to. I'm not using just this, crappy like desk mic thing setup I had here. That's what I was using before, but now like I have something that needs phantom power.
Miracles do happen.
They do. It's lovely.
Sorry, folks, as I'm trying to adjust the capture appropriately. Bear with me. I didn't have a chance to get this set up beforehand.
That's my fault.
Oh, no. Nonsense.
Everything exploded.
Your car exploded?
Mine wasn't the only one.
What happened? Okay.
Oh, God.
While I finish this editing here, what happened exactly?
This is mostly vodka. Yeah. I was noticing I had another oil leak in my car. Another oil leak. Second one. And I figured, okay, fine. I'll just take it to the place this weekend. And sure enough, when I got to work this morning, smoke out of the hood, billowing action.
Ooh. All right,
So that was fun.
Could you turn your mic down a bit? You are peeking out.
Yes. I certainly can. Is this a little bit better?
Yes, it is.
Good. Anyway, so I acquired a ride via the girlfriend, the SO, if you will, and we're maybe half a mile, 3/4 of a mile from my office, and then suddenly her car starts acting up. So yeah, we it righted itself, thankfully. So we wound up having to take it to a little auto parts store and getting some stuff and having them test things, and everything tested out fine. And
So you got to have fun today.
oh, didn't I?
Okay, we're looking pretty good. We're looking good and good to go. So, we have a couple things going on tonight. First off, before we actually get into the show itself, I promise like a general schedule for tomorrow. Because we broke 3,000 researchers. 3,000 of you guys and gals. A lot of people. We're going to be doing a 24-hour stream starting at noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And that's going to go all the way till noon Eastern Standard Time on
24 hours.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It needed excitement. This is an exciting thing.
Yeah. So in the evening times, we're going to... No, I'm very impressed. I wish I could do that. I can't do that.
Just go like move into a cave. Somebody donate him like $100 so he can go get one for this, please.
So I can get a cave?
Yes. $100 cave. Never heard of that?
Ooh. I'll go pick it up at Walmart.
Get a little mixer thing here. A little diddly do. Like $100.
Prince has the good idea in chat too.
Oh, I saw it.
Oh my goodness.
I saw it. I'm going to fuel me with vodka. And then, of course, once I sober up, because drunk driving is incredibly stupid, I'll fuel the car with vodka. Probably cheaper, actually. No, not even close.
No.
Not even close.
No. Well, actually, it depends how cheap.
You can get some pretty gross stuff out there. $8 for 2 gallons? Hell yeah. I'll drink that and die almost immediately after. I just like complete renal failure after the first shot.
Lighter fluid at its finest.
Lighter fluid, oh yes.
At its finest. So we're going to be doing some community games in the evening tomorrow. So like between 7 to 9, maybe 10 or 11. Early, late evening community games. There'll be TF2. Maybe some Planet Side 2 if people are up for it.
Word.
If we want to blow things up for the Republic.
I don't know what that means, but hell.
Terror Republic, come on. Fire all the bullets. Fire all the bullets. It'll take a long time to explain. We're not going to go
sword and axe man myself, to be honest with you. I like melee. Ain't worried about no bullets, lasers. Whatever.
No, Midnight Outlast will not happen. No.
No, yes, it will now. It's gonna happen now.
No.
Okay, everybody. We need to, say in chat right now. We need the Outlast at midnight, and then we need all of the Five Nights at Freddy's games.
Nope.
Marathon.
Nope.
Middle of the night.
I will fry my brain will cook.
Make it happen.
No. No. All right, if we get up to 4,000 followers before midnight tomorrow, I'll do it. That's the only way.
He just said it, guys.
The only way I would do that. That's the only way I'm going to do it. I do not want that to happen. I really, really don't. Okay, people have seen me play horror games before. I shut down.
Really?
I shut down.
I made a song for Eddie Monster once that very, very accurately chronicled his feelings for horror games as well.
Fuck all this shit?
It definitely no, it's even better. The whole I had him record a bunch of sound effects for his song. It's like a trap song because it's Eddie, you know how Eddie is.
Yeah.
He likes him some traps. And the song's okay, but it gets to where the drop is about to hit, and I spliced in a recording of his Outlast playthrough. And it's like, it's just so great because I put a bunch of echo on it, so it's like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. Don't come over here. Sorry. It's actually even girlier than that.
Oh my god.
Like, it's the most girly, high-pitched scream ever, and it's hilarious.
Oh dear.
So good.
Oh dear. Okay. Beyond that, we're doing Darkest Dungeon is going to happen tomorrow. I might, if people want to see it as I pull up my Steam list, because I do have a couple of new things downloaded. City Skylines probably isn't going to happen. I want to
can't get
work.
that game to work.
Really?
Not actually work. I mean, in my head, like I cannot seem to get that game to work, and nothing happens. Everybody dies immediately.
Have you ever played Pharaoh?
No.
Oh, that's what I compare it to. I might try some indie games tomorrow too, like tomorrow early afternoon. Mine Path to Thalamus. I think I want to do some Path of Exile as well.
Lots of
Subnautica.
paths.
What's that?
Lots of paths. We're taking some paths in the thing here.
Two. Okay. Yeah. Viscera cleanup detail is definitely happening tomorrow too. Actually, Viscera cleanup detail is probably going to happen at the end.
It sounds appropriate
Because we have to clean up.
You're going to clean up some Viscera after that. After those 24 hours have
I
passed.
downloaded quite a few custom maps in it, and we're gonna see if we can't speed run some Viscera cleanup detail. If War of the Overworld gets their next update out before tomorrow, before like noon tomorrow, we'll do some War for the Overworld, some Dungeon Keeper 3.
Ooh.
Which is, it's still fantastic. It's not really broadcast ready yet. It's still in early beta. But I love it. It's so much fun. With that being said, that's enough about tomorrow. We got community games going. We might get some cards in, but we'll approach that bridge when we get to it. In other news,
set it on fire.
We'll probably be setting things on fire. That's okay.
Yeah.
In other news, we have corrupted a majority of the Overboard gaming household to World of Warcraft.
Ha.
I'm proud of all of you. Your efforts have been so worthwhile. I'm going to turn off the music widget because I'm not playing music right now. There we go. We have Kylie. We have Dag. We just need Brawly now. Everyone get on it.
Come into the fold.
Get on it. I want all their blood in this game.
Your blood is mine.
Kylie thinks I'm the devil for corrupting her to this.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of are a little bit.
I totally am.
A little bit.
I fully admit that, and I don't care. It's my guild.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh. I'm sorry. I'm reacting to emails. I'm checking.
Anything you can share?
Yeah, absolutely. The loot crate for this month is for April is fantasy themed. Yeah, Game of Thrones, Dungeons and Dragons, and The Princess Bride.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's my girlfriend, so technically I can't
Princess
have it,
Bride.
right? To Blave. I love that movie. Wish I was sexy as Carrie Yules in the 80s. Yeah.
I'm just remembering that movie now. God,
That's such a good movie.
it's
Well,
a classic. It
Manny
truly.
Patinkin. Ugh. What more do you need? That guy was the principal on the Goofy movie.
Okay. With that all being said, this is On the Line. I'm Dan. That's DJ B.
Hey-o.
He does his thing. I do my thing. We're both restaurant individuals, although we have different and varied experiences.
We do.
And that's kind of what makes it magical. So every Friday we get together and we talk shop. And we generally have a specific subject, a general subject we wanted to hit on or focus on, but we also will happily get off topic and take those roads to nowhere that conversations tend to take us in.
It's pretty standard.
It's also magical. It's
It
a lot of
is.
fun. It's so much fun.
It just eventually this show, from what I gather, just by understanding what happens, it just turns into like Dan trying to really talk about food and being good, and me just going into drunken improv comedy and being really bad at it.
We've gotten some really good YouTube clips out of you.
Have we posted those, by the way? I haven't seen any.
No, it's still all
okay.
It's still all highlights on the channel.
Gotcha.
I wonder if I can actually download those.
Let's do that if we can.
If I can download those, I'll start downloading them. That's not a bad idea, in fact.
Yeah, I think those would be those would be fun things. Everybody likes, getting on YouTube and watching people make an ass of themselves. And God knows I am just wholly proficient at that.
What's probably going to happen? I'm probably, because of tomorrow's stream, I'm probably going to end tonight's stream a little early, maybe an hour or two early, so I'll have time to do that. So you folks watch the YouTube page, and we'll see if we can't get those up there. Today's subjects. You have a recipe for us tonight, DJB.
I kind of got a couple, or I have one that has many wonderful variations.
Ooh, all right. What is it?
Very, very easy. You don't remember? You don't remember what we talked about?
No.
Not keeping up with this. I remember.
My brain is cooked already.
Well, the good thing about this recipe is it does mesh fairly well with the main subject for tonight. But we do a lot of main courses, and so I decided to do an appetizer, and I chose hummus.
Oh yeah. That's why I don't remember it.
Really? You
I
don't like hummus?
I hate hummus.
You hate hummus?
I'm sorry. I've never met a hummus I liked.
You've never met a hummus you like?
I have tried many, and I have never liked any of them.
Really?
Yeah.
I just that's what I have to say to that.
That's magical.
That's my reaction to that.
That's fair enough.
I understand. I mean, hummus is a very particular flavor, and it's got a lot of aspects to it, even though it has very minimal ingredients that not necessarily everybody can mesh with. So I can understand.
Yeah, actually, the flavor never really got to me. I tended to enjoy the flavor. It was the texture.
Not a paste fan, like a bean paste kind of thing?
No. In fact, I don't like beans at all.
I was going to say, do you even like refried beans? But yeah, if you don't like beans,
No.
obviously you're not going to like this.
Again, I don't.
Beans, but still.
I don't mind the flavor, but it's a texture thing in a major way.
Okay. I can understand completely, because there's a lot of food like that applies to me. Mushrooms, coconut, all that shit. Can't stand it. Great flavor. Hate the texture.
Yeah.
But in its essence, hummus is a very few key ingredients. Basically, your main bulk of the dish is going to be chickpeas. And one of the best things about hummus is that, like, almost any one ingredient that goes into this dish can be substituted, which makes it incredibly versatile. I mean, I have had tons of different kinds of hummus where chickpeas was not involved. Carrot hummus, edamame hummus. Really, really fascinating stuff. Beet
Really?
hummus.
Edamame hummus?
Edamame hummus. Yeah, it was at a restaurant I worked at.
That sounds really good.
It was tasty. It really was. You might actually like a variation that doesn't have something like that.
Well, I love edamame.
Edamame is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so good for you. But I have a couple of different recipes here. And so your standard hummus is going to be chickpea base. It's going to have tahini, which you can find at any sort of ethnic grocery store, like any kind of like Arabic or, Middle Eastern style place, that sells those sort of ingredients, which sometimes that's a little bit harder to get a hold of than others. To be honest, I very rarely ever make hummus because there's a lot of different like packages of it at the grocery store. But I tell you what, I don't know how many times I have just bought a little container of hummus and some like pita chips and just ate the whole damn thing, just devoured it. Matter of fact, there's a really great recipe that uses hummus as a condiment for a wrap. It's just like chicken that's been marinated in Italian dressing, tomatoes, onions, lettuce, hummus, and like maybe a little bit of cheese. And just wrap that up in a tortilla and you're good. Fucking amazing.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really good. But yeah, for this particular recipe, you're going to want to have 2 15-ounce cans of chickpeas, drained and rinsed. You don't want the liquid because if it's too watery, it's going to be like mud. It's going to be ugh. You don't want that.
Yeah.
Some recipes this one specifically calls for the liquid to be saved. I don't think that's necessary. I really don't. You're going to need 3 cloves of garlic because garlic is a very big part of the flavor profile. You're going to need 1/3 cup of tahini, which if you don't know what tahini is basically a paste made of sesame seeds.
Yep.
It's mashed up sesame seeds. Tahini is fascinating to me because you can't eat tahini by itself. If you can, you're fucking crazy. It's I don't necessarily know if it's tannins that what make it taste and feel the way it does, but it'll dry your mouth out, like it's tanniny.
Yeah, I've always attributed, because I actually get a chance to try a little bit of chicken with tahini sauce on it.
Really?
Yeah. I was told by the chef that cooked it that it's the not the smoking, but the roasting process that the sesame seeds go through that really dries them out and lets all of that flavor condense in the dried seeds, but it also makes them like you cannot taste them on their own. They're just horrible.
Not. Yeah, it's not like you wouldn't just be like casually strolling into your pantry to get a spoonful of tahini,
Yeah, it's kind of like trying to just add sesame oil on its own to something, or just
yeah.
It's a flavor enhancer to other flavors. It doesn't work well on its own.
It is, and it's very powerful, so like
yes.
It's going to be a thing, You want to be super careful with that.
You can always add a little more. You cannot take this kind of stuff away from a dish.
Very true. Sparing is a very good word to use when cooking with tahini. But it does add a lot to the flavor profile. Anyway, continuing on, you want about like a quarter cup of lemon juice. Lemon juice is also one of the key ingredients to this. About another quarter cup of olive oil to kind of emulsify a little bit. A little bit of salt. As always, I will highly recommend kosher salt. Sea salt might be a bit much. Like a teaspoon of kosher salt will be good. I don't like table salt because it's got extra chemicals and blah, 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 blah. We've gone over this.
Sure.
And then some people use like parsley for garnish. I don't necessarily think it's, I mean, yeah, if you want, parsley doesn't have any real flavor to add to a dish. I'm going to go ahead and post it in chat as we speak.
There isn't really a risk with garnishing.
Yeah.
Especially with parsley. If you're serving it to someone else, take the time to garnish.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree wholeheartedly. Like whenever I make a dish for guests, I will even if I'm just like cooking for the girlfriend, I'll try my best to really kind of spruce it up because you eat with your eyes before you eat with your mouth.
Absolutely. Presentation is half of food.
To any restaurant or a grocery store and been like, boy, this looks like ass, but I bet it tastes really good. Like you have to be super adventurous to do things like that. So generally speaking, if you look at something and you think it looks like crap, you're already got your mindset going that it's going to taste like it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because your mind is extra powerful in that way.
Yep.
But basically most of this just kind of goes in a blender. It's not a hard recipe to do. Like this is definitely a 1 out of 5. You're going to want to put your chickpeas, your garlic, in a food processor. This does kind of necessitate a food processor. And if you don't have one, I'm telling you, man, they're always worth it. You can get even a blender would work probably okay. You can
a Blendtec blender.
There you go.
Will it blend? That is the question.
Yes. Easily in this case. You can get those at like $20 at Walmart or what have you. But you want to get those pretty roughly chopped. Not necessarily in paste form, but yeah, go ahead and just get it nice and, a good chop. There's still some texture in there. But where a lot of the smoothness is going to come from is after that, you're going to want to add in your tahini, your lemon juice, your olive oil. And I guess if you save the liquid for this stuff, go ahead and put like a quarter cup of there. It depends on how smooth you like it. It probably will smooth it out a bit, and that's fine. Chickpea liquid is, tasty. It's chickpeas.
Yep.
But at this point, you just puree it. Puree that bad boy out to where it's whatever texture you like. It might be a little chunky. If it is, then maybe put a little more liquid in there. Like honestly, if you really wanted to, you could probably use like a vegetable stock to thin it out as well.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be too bad. Maybe even like a meat stock, like a chicken. I wouldn't use a red meat stock or something weird like goat or fish or whatever. But like a chicken stock would be okay. And just to whatever texture you like, just blend the hell out of it. Once it's nice and blended, go ahead and put in your salt. I personally, this recipe doesn't call for it. I personally like cumin. I like a little cumin.
I was about to ask, do you ever put a little spiciness to yours?
I do personally. When I've made it myself, I'll put a little cumin in there. I'll put a little smoked paprika in there. Not a whole lot, maybe just like a teaspoon each. Specifically the cumin because cumin is real strong. And yeah, I mean, all that just kind of kicks it up. It's not necessary, but it will add a really nice flavor to it. Pepper really isn't necessary. It's not a spicy. It's not made to be a spicy dish.
Mhm.
But I mean, yeah, just add a couple of different things here and there. Throw it in there, pulse it up, make it nice and thin, to whatever preferred texture, and you're done. I mean, that's it. It goes great with a lot of different vegetables. What I like to do is in the grocery store, you can buy carrots that have been sliced into what basically look like chips. They're just little, little thin slices with little ridges, and you just dip that right in there. It's really healthy. I
Sure.
mean, this is not a fatty recipe at all. It's
No,
pretty-
that's one good thing about hummus is it's extremely good for you.
It is. It's great. Chickpeas are good for you. It meshes with a lot of really good diets. Vegetarian, just fine. I don't know what the hell constitutes as vegan these days, so I'm not gonna say it. I don't know what constitutes as gluten free. It sounds like it's probably gluten free. I don't fucking know. I don't care, but vegetarian for sure. Now the fun part about hummus is that you can do all kinds of cool stuff and mix it up. Um, I personally enjoy sun-dried tomatoes and basil in mine. And you can basically just kind of add that in the second step. Like once you've got your stuff pulsed up, just fucking put because I love sun-dried tomatoes, by the way.
Sure.
Sun-dried
Oh,
tomatoes
yeah.
are absolutely delicious. Little sun-dried tomatoes, some fresh basil, throw it in there, pulse it up, make it nice and red. It'll add a little sweetness to it. You can also make like a paste from the sun-dried tomatoes, which would require a little extra effort, but it would be just like a little bit of some kind of emulsifying, like olive oil, basically. And
Sure,
get,
sure.
Get you a paw of maybe not even that much, like half a paw of sun-dried tomatoes and the basil, and just blend that all up.
Sure.
Just put it right on top, just a big glob of it. You can add bacon to hummus. Throw some bacon in there, fresh
You
bacon.
can. Oh yeah.
And instead of olive oil, use bacon fat. Fucking A, bacon hummus. Oh my God.
Why not?
Absolutely.
Why not?
You could substitute the chickpeas for black beans. Absolutely. You might need a little more
Ooh.
because black beans are a bit smaller, but I would add more cumin to that. I would add a little pepper.
Get a
and
little
then
bit
you
of
can-
extra Southwest going on.
Absolutely. And put a little pico de gallo right there on top.
Ooh.
Yeah. Use it with some tortilla chips. Oh, baby.
Maybe get some thinly sliced jalapenos on the top. Add with the chips.
Absolutely, of course. There's a lot of different things. There's even some really like obscure ones. Like this particular site I'm looking at now recommends tuna and olive hummus. That is probably not something I would make,
No.
but I would try it if someone else made it. Another one I don't think I would make would be like harissa and mint,
Ugh.
because I don't like mint at all.
You don't like mint?
Not in most stuff. No, I
Oh,
like
I
it by
love
itself,
mint.
but I don't like it in a lot of different things. Now, there is one recipe that I haven't looked at up until this very point, and I'm super curious. I'm going to tell you what it's called because I think via conjecture and context clues, you can discover what they do to this. It's called pastrummus.
Pastrami hummus.
Now, join me on this adventure. What we're going to basically do here is, just put pastrami on top of it. That is really disappointing, actually. Yeah, hot chopped pastrami. Just put right on there. Kind of, maybe
That's
even
not a
mix it
bad
into the
idea.
hummus and then like put some like hot mustard on there, which is funny because this recipe specifically isn't even a recipe, but it does say a hot chopped pastrami from Katz's. Katz's Deli, which if you are not familiar with the legendary Katz's Deli,
That's New York right there.
It is, and they've actually had one in Austin too for a long time.
Really?
They did. It actually closed before I got a chance to try it, but it did
Oh.
exist. Now, I have been to Katz's Deli in New York City. It was one of my like absolute have to do when I'm in New York. I spent
Sure.
a week there with some friends, and we gotta fucking go to Katz, because if you go to Katz, you get the pastrami sandwich. It's like 5-inch thick pieces of pastrami, and the sandwich is this big.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
also like $17. It's and those people there don't give a fuck. Like they are not screwing around.
No.
You can either go through the line and go to the counter and order your food that way, or you can sit against the wall and have service. You can have a server. We didn't really know. We were kind of scared because a bunch of guys from Texas. We're little, East Texas redneck boys.
Yeah.
We don't know what. We're the first time in the big city. We're scared. So we did the service, and the guy comes up looking vaguely disgruntled. He didn't look super happy. I don't think it was necessarily the way he felt. It was just how he looked and acted. But he comes up to us. He's like, "Hey, what are you drinking?" And we ordered our drinks. He's like, "All right, cool. What do you want?" And we're like, "Okay, pastrami, good. How about you? Pastrami, good. How about you?" And this happened like 3 more times. So it was always pastrami, good. Pastrami, good. All right, I'll be right back. So that's how it fucking went, and it was awesome. It was great. If you guys don't actually, if you don't know what Katz's Deli is, and another time I would have said go to your video store and rent it. So go to YouTube and type in "When Harry Met Sally orgasm scene." That's what you're gonna want to look for.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you go to, there's a very famous scene in a movie with Billy Crystal and fucking what's her name? And if I keep forgetting her name, God damn it, it's terrible. She's a very famous actress. But they're having a little thing at Katz's Deli. And she basically fakes an orgasm in the middle of the restaurant, and then the punchline of the whole thing is a little old lady sitting next to them. "I'll have what she's having."
Oh, I know who it is. Who is it? I can see her. Meg Ryan.
Ryan, there you go.
Yeah, it's Meg Ryan.
She did a bunch of movies like that in like the 80s and 90s.
Like I had to think about it. Like what is her face?
There you go.
That's her face.
Hey, there's Sun Guardian. How you doing, brother? Hadn't seen that guy in a while.
I was watching him do some Diablo 3.
I've worked a time or two. I usually, if he's doing back when he was doing his Kerbal stuff, I was usually lurking. Anyway, I've gotten off topic completely.
That's okay.
Want to do
that's okay.
Katz's Deli, very famous restaurant.
This is giving me an idea I'd like you to try sometime, since you do enjoy hummus.
I love hummus.
Have you ever tried a Parmesan garlic hummus before?
I have not.
So let me throw this at you. Parmesan garlic hummus with chips and very thinly sliced warm prosciutto on top.
Ooh, how about instead of chips, crostinis?
Ooh.
Garlic butter crostinis?
Ooh.
Yeah. And you don't even need to like dip it. You can just spread that shit right on top.
Yeah, and then layer
like basil, tomato basil on top with the prosciutto. Oh, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, speaking on the subject of sun-dried tomatoes, my favorite aioli, and there are many aiolis I love.
Yeah.
Sun-dried tomatoes, basil, and garlic. Very simple, but so much flavor.
Which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, when he says simple, he means it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and tell you the recipe for that right now. It's sun-dried tomatoes, garlic, basil, mayonnaise. Those are your ingredients for that. We just told you another bonus recipe.
Blend it all together and bam, put that on a sandwich and you are rocking. Oh man,
particularly with a whole lot of cured meats.
Oh yeah, get some rare roast beef going there.
I'm really glad that we're the reason we only do like bust camera shots here is because half the time we're talking about good food, we just have like raging boners.
It's horrible.
It's all right there. You just barely see it.
That's not true. That's horrible.
Speak for yourself.
Oh my god. Oh dear.
DJ Boner.
Is that going to be the name of your next album? DJ Boner.
Of every album from now on. I'm just changing my name.
DJ
Boner Hobbit.
Oh my god.
I got a boner for life.
All right, let's get into the actual topic before we get even more off track, if you will. Tonight we're talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart. Or
this is definitely a thing.
Or as Dennis
The Menace?
Not Dennis Miller, but another comedian.
Rodman?
No, comedian.
He's pretty fucking funny. I don't know if you've seen him.
Cockles, maybe even the colon. You don't remember that? Who is that?
What?
What?
Huh?
The I'm an asshole guy.
Oh, there's a comedian who claims he's an asshole. Gee, I wonder who that could.
No, the
That's all
song.
kinds of people. Oh, shit. The guy who does the show about the firefighters,
Yes.
blonde guy.
Yeah, what's his name?
Fucking, I don't remember. Dennis
Oh.
Leary.
Dennis Leary.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay,
Literally,
now the reference is totally
that's-
ruined though because I fucked it up. So, anywho,
I'm gonna
Anywho.
do the man thing. Dude. I always love when he does that. I do.
you're still echoing.
Everybody's doing shit. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So, we're talking about bread tonight. Now, we've talked much about cooking and much about different aspects of cooking. Bread is not cooking.
It is not.
Bread is what we call baking.
The exact, specific, and very difficult science.
Unlike cooking where you can wiggle room, you can play around a lot, you could throw this and that in this, and you can try tons of different things. Baking is an exact science. You must be so careful and delicate with it because it's a living thing.
Oh man,
That's actually
awful at baking.
that's one of the first points I want to drive home when talking about baking is you're talking about a living thing. Yeast is alive.
It is.
You have to treat it like a living thing with that.
It's alive!
That was pretty awesome. Well timed. DJ Bonehead. So there are a couple important aspects to all breads. Now this doesn't apply across the board because there are unleavened breads. There are like what am I thinking of? Non-bread. Non-bread. Thank you, DJ Bonehead. There are breads that don't encompass all these things, but to a certain extent, all breads have certain factors to them. One, the crust. The crust of a bread is so vital to what you're trying to do with it and the quality of it. So if you're trying to do some kind of sourdough or hard loaf, you want to be able to knock that crust a little bit and hear something.
Love it.
You want to be able to
I love a crusty bread. I love a crusty bread.
it's so good with soup because that crust just absorbs that liquid.
Dude, that soup recipe I gave out, it is godlike with a nice, thick, like crusted sourdough. Or ciabatta. Oh.
Ciabatta is another one I'm going to talk about tonight. What's called pulling ciabatta is something I'm just going to touch on briefly.
That's Dan's new show on HBO. Pulling ciabatta.
I hate you so much.
It is. Get a pen and paper, write it down. It's good.
The next thing I want to impress on you guys is the importance of the consistency of the air bubbles, the gas bubbles inside the bread. Now you're probably wondering, what is he talking about? What gas bubbles are you referring to? When you slice a piece of bread, you notice all the pockets and the webbing and everything going on. You want consistency with those. Because if your yeast isn't consistent, if your bread isn't mixed properly, all of a sudden you have areas where there's no gas bubbles forming, and you have areas where these massive gas bubbles are forming that completely ruin a loaf. You have a massive hole in your loaf of bread. So it's important you make sure you get that consistent. And the next thing that's very important is, like I was speaking earlier on, your yeast. It's a living thing, which means you have to feed it and take care of it properly.
Sing it to bed every night. Tuck it in.
You take some sourdough, mother doughs, and that's something that they do. Not really.
I mean, I wasn't like being entirely facetious with it.
No, that happens. That happens.
You got to nurture it.
That comes from a balance of flour, salt, and sugars. Now, flour is your base. It's really everything the yeast is feeding off to grow the loaf, to build it. The sugar enhances and speeds the growth rate of the yeast. Now, a lot of sugar means it's going to be a fast, volatile bread, but it's going to rise very quickly. If you have to hurry a loaf, you add a little extra sugar, but it also changes the flavor and texture of it. Now, salt retards that growth and retards the yeast to a point where it slows its growth down and stretches out the growth cycle of it. So you have these different chemicals that you need to add to a loaf in balance to manage it properly. So let's take something I worked on for years, for absolute long time. Pizza dough.
Important.
Very
Oh,
important.
yeah,
Pizza dough.
I mean, if anything, that's going to be like the first non-confection that most people do when they first work on like their first bread product.
Yep, it's very
Everybody does,
easy
like,
to deal
brownies,
with.
cookies, all that stuff, but like pizza dough. Everybody loves fucking pizza.
Yep, pizza dough, it's a very simple situation, but if you try to hurry it, it can go awry very quickly. See what I did there? Awry. I think I'm funny.
Oh, Dan, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm gonna get fired. All my mods
I'm gonna get
and
fired
Rob.
from something I don't get paid for. How does that even work?
You
Use
see,
the balls, Luke.
you see,
Oh, Jesus
Lament's
Christ.
like,
Lament. with the
Lament's like,
fucking-
oh.
You just got like fucking.
I got
quadruple-
rapid fired. I got
You
rapid
got
fired.
rapid fire.
I got rapid fired. It's a
got-
thing. I have
it
ordered
is.
people to be rapid fired before. So,
Well done, sir. No puns, only buns. All right.
Pizza-
That's who else gets to get fired for that.
Lament's on it. Lament's on
we,
it.
we need Lorg up in here because he's the only person to save us now. Where's Lorg?
Oh my god. So,
Hashtag where's Lorg?
pizza dough is very simple. You have your balance of salts and sugars, although you should probably go a little heavier on the sugar than the salt. You want to make sure it has a decent growth rate. You're going to aim for probably about a day, maybe 2 days. Okay, okay, stop with the spam. Stop with the spam, kids. Oh, Jesus. You're going to want to make sure you are making it to a consistency where it's slightly thicker than Play-Doh. Just about. It's going to be very simple. Sugar, salt, water, flour.
Okay, the ingredients are simple.
Yeah.
That is it. That's where the
And-
simplicity ends.
And yeast. Now, make sure you look up a recipe ahead of time if you decide to do pizza dough. Because
Yes.
you're going to have multiple phases. First off, you're going to mix all of the flour, most of the water, the sugar, and the salt together. And you're going to mix it all together. Whether you're kneading it or not, you know, that's your choice at this point in time. You don't have to yet. In a separate container, then, you're going to take the yeast, and you're going to take the rest of your water, about, depending upon how much you're making, maybe a cup or two at the most. Make sure it's very warm water, about 100 to 115 degrees. That's your butter zone for yeast. You don't want it too hot. You don't want water too hot, or you'll kill the yeast. You will murder it. And you don't want it too cold because you want the yeast to wake up. You want it to be alive.
And again, this is where it becomes a very, very intricate, delicate operation making. But as a disclaimer, ladies and gentlemen, don't be like a puss like me and just avoid it altogether. Still give it a shot.
Yes.
Regardless of the difficulty, always try it.
Yep.
Always try it.
One very important part, too, is depending upon how fast you want the yeast to mature, that's going to be whether or not you make the water hotter or slightly colder. So a little colder, and the yeast is going to, it's going to tick slowly, but it is going to tick. A little hotter, maybe towards the 112, 115 mark, and the yeast is going to grow very quickly. It's going to really accelerate, and it's going to need that sugar very quickly. Now, there are benefits and drawbacks to different kinds of yeast. So letting yeast grow more slowly means you're going to have a tighter dough. You're not going to have it quite so watery. It's going to, take time and eat up all those different ingredients going on in there. And you're going to have a more mature flavor to it because you're letting a lot more of those resources process. It's not going to be quite as alcoholic. It's going to be a little less alcohol in it towards the end of its life.
Right.
If you have a faster growing yeast, it's going to mature quickly, it's going to rise quickly, but it's going to go bad quickly. Alcohol is going to be produced very quickly, and it's going to be a very watery dough after just a few days.
So
and you're going to have
a little bit of beer history.
Oh my god. No, I'm going to get that towards the end, but we're definitely going to do beer.
Good. I should have known.
Um
It always comes down to alcohol with us.
One big thing about making bread is that if you let it sit too long, you're going to have a lump of alcohol. And really kind of shitty alcohol too.
Yeah, it's not even good stuff.
No. But yeast, as it ages and as it dies off, and as it converts all of that sugar into something, it's converting it into alcohol. Now, normally in most breads, that stuff cooks off in the baking process, and there's barely any there in the first place when a dough is properly matured. But if you put too much hot water into your yeast, if you're putting too much sugar, you're going to get a very wet, alcohol-y smelling dough that doesn't cook properly. So you need to be careful of that.
Good.
Well, random secret of pizza kitchens. Dough that goes bad essentially after 3 days, if it's not used, at least one cook in the kitchen will be stupid enough to grab it because they're in either these 20-ounce balls. What the fuck is that?
That was my phone that I didn't put on silent.
Oh my goodness.
I swear to God, it's my parents. One of my parents will always fucking try to get a hold of me during this show.
So at least one cook in the kitchen will be stupid enough to grab one of the dough balls that are really old and alcoholic smelling, hold it to their face, squeeze it as tight as they can, and inhale.
What does that do for them?
It gets you like this alcohol high.
Really?
Because you're inhaling all those fumes at once.
It's like one of those jagoffs who like punctures the fucking Lysol can and tries to drink the liquid because it fucks you up.
Yeah.
That's just idiotic.
Yeah. It's not good for you at all.
You know how easy it is to get drugs these days, guys. Just fucking go do it. If you're gonna be stupid and try to kill yourself with like noxious materials, just do it right. Don't fuck with that kind of stuff.
It's horrible for you because you're still fucking with a live ingredient.
Yeah.
And it's like the people that, if you guys ever have an urge to do that, don't do it. Like people joke about it, but it's really not safe.
No,
it's really not safe. But
that's
anywho,
about on par with the assholes who would bread their hands and put it in the deep fryer. If you think about it, they're not that far apart.
Yes, Rob, because yeast produces alcohol.
Wait a minute. I can get high. Wheat, a minute, by the way, I think deserves a firing.
A single firing.
One fire, please.
One.
I request one fire. But yeah.
Okay, but that's the basics of pizza dough. It's one of the most basic breads you can work on. It's very easy, all things considered, compared to a lot of other breads. And it usually cooks relatively easily and relatively similarly to different batches that you'll make.
Making pizza is so much fun.
It is. And you just need to let it sit for a day or two at the very most. Let it mature. Let it rise. You are going to want to do some kneading with your hands, but it really doesn't take much. In fact, if you want to do it all in a mixer, it will probably work.
One can argue that one of the most important ingredients in the baking process is patience.
Yes, patience and a respect for the actual process itself.
Respect is another really, really great term, by the way.
Respect the chemical process.
Absolutely. It does require respect.
Yeah. So let's just go over quickly a couple other kinds of bread I want to talk about. You have plenty of other kinds of bread, and actually I've written up a whole list that I wanted to discuss. I'm not going to go through all of them. You have rye breads, which are made with rougher, stronger grains. You have what's referred to as white breads. Now, there are white breads that aren't total chemicals, but a vast majority of white breads are just chemicals.
We should really touch on the fact that Europeans generally think American bread tastes like cake because we
Yes.
dump pounds and pounds of sugar into it.
And there's a reason for that, and
Yeah.
it's not flavor.
It's preservation, I'm assuming.
Preservation and the speed at which you need to be manufacturing it.
Yeah.
Because we go through so much so quickly and it needs to be super cheap, it needs to grow fast.
Rob, no. Rob, why? God. Where's Lorg? Hashtag where's Lorg?
Just fucking wrong. Wow.
Yeah, no, I absolutely despise white bread, and I grew up with it, so I ate it for many, many years, and I am well within my rights to loathe it entirely.
Mhm.
I discovered at the very least wheat bread, and which that was before I realized that pretty much anything home baked was better.
Yep.
Even the home baked stuff in a lot of American bakeries is still loaded with sugar.
Yep.
So European bread is really the bread you want to try. And I personally can't say I've ever tried it. I don't know that I have. If there's been a European process to make the bread, I was unaware of it. And I would really enjoy trying it out.
It's a
because
difference
I
of-
want to know it.
It's not a difference of different recipes. It's the amount of time they invest into
Okay.
it. So
Right.
European breads, from what extremely little I know about them, most likely involve longer grow times, and they involve a lot more mother doughs, which don't require that excess amount of sugar to grow quickly. They take ages and ages to grow, but they've been growing for, oddly enough, a long fucking time. So instead of having to start this new batch of a mother dough or just make a new batch of dough from scratch, they just grow the mother dough out to a point where they can take off the requisite amount and bake the bread. They don't have to just pour a ton of sugar into dough and hope it grows fast enough.
Right, and it does kind of make me ponder the historical cause of this issue, because I know it's really weird and probably extremely boring to anybody else. I love food history,
Oh yeah.
really do.
My God, yes.
Understanding why a culture eats the food they do is so fascinating to me. I know a lot about why Southern food is what it is,
Mhm.
and I love it. But I would absolutely love to know why okay, I have a pretty good idea of why European bread is made the way it is. I would guess that American mass-produced bread probably doesn't have one of the key ingredients to most food in a lot of other countries, and that's I don't want to say desperation; it's more of necessity. A lot of cultural foods are what they are because that's what they had.
Yeah.
You see a lot of it's really fascinating that Southeast Asian food and Southern food have a lot of really similar ingredients because we used what we had, and what we had was every single part of a pig or a cow. So you have in America you got chitlins, you got intestines, and then you have pho that's got
Yep.
bits and pieces of guts, and little things like that. But I would assume that as Europe obviously has a much longer history than America, being a much, much older culture, and bread, being the staple of human, dietary, things over many years. I would really be interested in seeing some of the very early recipes with bread. What did they do, and what is the difference between then and now?
Well, again, I think the main difference is those heavier grain-based breads, rye breads, versus the French style of sourdough and white loaf that got converted over into American cuisine, which is what we know now as white bread.
Right.
Because the original white bread, as I understand it, was a style of French loaf that rose into that muffin top shaped figure.
Right. It's funny too. Another thing I noticed that kind of freaks Europeans out is that our crust is soft. It freaks them the fuck out. They was like, what the fuck? Why do you have a crust? It's not like it's a soft thing. It's not. There's no texture to it. It's just like an extra part of the bread. Which, by the way, my girlfriend and I were musing and also giggling at a product we saw at the local grocery store. They sell bread that has the crust cut off. They just sell that. It's like squares of white bread that just has the crust. It's fucking hilarious to me. I'm like, what is this exactly? Who is buying this product so much that they really needed to just sell it, like market it to the consumers? I don't know. I just
Take a really good long guess as to what they do with the outer crust too.
Oh my god. If I had to guess with this particular company that sells this bread, I would be willing to guess that it gets hard baked into like croutons. If I had to guess.
It probably gets thrown away.
It probably does get thrown away. Yes, I'm probably being way too hopeful. Because if there's one thing you want to know about Mr. DJB right here is that I hate wasting food.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it. It drives me crazy to see any portion of food thrown away with that's perfectly good, that isn't bad, that won't make someone sick. Fucking infuriates me. I hate it so much. Oh my god. And it gets done so often in America. This place wastes so much food. Like, for fuck's sake, man. What the hell? I don't know. It's just one of those subjects that I'm very, very passionate about. But I absolutely despise wasting food. And to know that I live in a place where just so much food is just thrown away when hungry people could be eating and could be happy and like satisfied and not starving, not die because of lack of food in a country where food is in absolute abundance, is just, it's mind-blowing. It really is. I don't understand. I never will. That's just
I would not claim to understand.
For DJB for the day. Fucking hate wasting food.
And that's the thing about bread too. It's only truly expensive in time. Everything else that goes into it, pretty cheap. Pretty cheap. As long as you're willing to take the time to do it right. I mean, the flour that goes into it, maybe 30, 40 cents at the most.
Right.
To a single loaf, let's say. The sugar and the salt, 10, 15 cents together. Barely anything.
All right.
Let's say the yeast. The yeast probably the most expensive. Maybe right. 70 cents, 75 cents at the most. So you get a solid full loaf for maybe $1.50 worth of resources.
Profit.
Not just profit. I mean, if you're willing to take the time to do that, I mean that costs what, $4 or $5 at the grocery store every week. A loaf or two.
Absolutely.
That's something to think about. If you're willing to put the extra, 15 minutes into just quickly making a loaf every week, again, it just costs time.
It does. And I mean, on the pros of this specific subject, you're getting a much higher quality of product. You're getting bread that has amazing flavor that you control yourself.
Yeah.
That, you have the keys to make a really tasty product.
Yep.
And it's available whenever you want it. When you're ready to make some bread, it's there. Obviously the downside, it does require time, and it does require something that not necessarily that everyone has, which is a talent for baking, a skill for baking, a mind for baking. I like to consider myself a pretty decent cook. I think I'm fairly good at what I do. I've been told that by other people, so I would like to say that's my confirmation. I am a shite baker. Oh my god, I will fucking burn a plastic tube of sugar cookies. I am so terrible at it. I can't wrap my head around it.
All you have to do is follow the directions.
I know, right? It seems that simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It really does, but I don't know why. I've never been able to understand why I can't really get,
But that's the one really good thing about baking. It's only as difficult as the directions are to understand and reciprocate, or replicate, rather.
Right, true. And like I said, it's not a logical thing by any means. I don't know why I'm terrible at it, but maybe I just need more practice. It does take a small amount of practice. Really,
It does.
Think
You
about
have
it.
to
can't
process
just
the recipe a couple times.
Be a fucking prodigy right off the bat and just be like, oh, well, this is my first burger. Oh, look here, this is the most perfect sourdough any human's ever tasted.
Exactly.
It's like those assholes you see on YouTube. It's like, watch this 4-year-old play Mozart. And I'm like, well, you can go fuck yourself. you were born with that talent and I wasn't, and I'm mad. So
I wish I was playing I Am Bread later. Oh my god.
You own I Am Bread?
I don't.
Oh man. How much does that cost? I might just give it to you.
Oh, don't.
I do that though. You
No.
really don't have to say.
No, don't.
It's a
Don't.
thing.
No, don't.
Just keep talking. We're gonna
My god.
keep doing your thing.
I
Just
hate you.
shut up.
Sourdough is an art. Sourdough is an art because you have
fuck.
to treat the mother dough. You must handle the mother dough with care and respect.
Mm.
It is, it is a little tough. So let's talk about a couple of these different types. I mentioned a couple. You also have different flatbreads, unleavened breads that are absolutely bread. That includes tortilla shells, other things like that.
So to kind of go back a step, how would you define the word unleavened? Because I feel like you would actually know what the word unleavened means.
Unleavened is bread that does not have a yeast in it.
There you go. Plain and simple.
Yeah. Sourdough is probably the most widely accepted form of bread that is appreciated. Sourdough is something almost anyone can manage. It takes time. But if you understand the directions, if you find a good recipe, if you get help from another person, it's pretty quick to learn. Now, you may have to take a batch or two and experiment a bit, but you will get it. It is very easy to grasp onto. Hey, Anne, hopefully you're feeling better. Hopefully you're feeling better, Anne. Oh, no, you're feeling... Oh.
Chat lurking. Feel better.
Yeah, she was dealing with some stuff today. I'm sorry, Anne. Hopefully you feel better.
Mi corazón.
What is that?
Pobrecito.
Okay. You have what's called gluten-free breads.
He just gives up on that, by the way, which I love. It's
Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
Anywho.
Well, speaking of giving up, gluten-free breads. No?
What you just said doesn't exist.
Well, here's the thing.
That came out of your face, that's not. It just isn't.
Gluten-free bread really... It's tough to define it as bread.
It is, because it's not. Bread is gluten.
Yes. So, while as much as I love everyone and think everyone's awesome,
everyone is awesome.
If you're celiac, you will never have bread. Gluten-free bread isn't bread.
I'm so sorry.
And I feel terrible saying that.
No, you don't.
I do. No, I do.
A little bit.
Because I like to be inclusive of everyone. But if you're celiacs, you will never have bread. And I'm so sorry. You won't even have real beer. Gluten-free beer is cider.
That does suck. That sucks so much.
Gluten-free beer is cider.
Well, to be fair, there are some pretty tasty ciders out there.
There are, but it's not beer.
It's not beer, no. Just stick to vodka, baby. Potatoes.
Yeah.
That's where it's at.
That's what's powering Psycho's internet, in fact.
That's what's powering me currently. I am currently about to text someone to bring me a bottle of cider.
I know cider is wonderful. I don't drink it myself anymore, but it is wonderful.
My girlfriend really loves it. She's very picky about it, but it's understandable because there's some really fucking gross ciders out there.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's understandable because I'm pretty sure she can hear me. So I have to watch what I say. It's very thin walls. In this
be careful now. One other type of bread I wanted to mention before we move forward is hemp bread.
What?
I
420
know.
Blazed bread?
No, not really. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. It isn't technically gluten-free, although it can be prepared in a gluten-free manner. But hemp seeds have a relative high oil content of 25 to 35% and can be added at a rate of up to 15% of the wheat flour. Oil's omega 6 to omega 3 ratio lies in the range of 2:1 to 3:1, which is ideal for human nutrition.
Get some fucking science dropped on your ass.
This has been an up-and-coming trend lately in breads, which hemp bread.
I'm interested.
It is supposedly incredibly good for you, and
you
especially
have my curiosity. Now you have my attention. That's a movie quote. Why did we stop? Did we stop for
I'm
something?
sorry, no, I was appreciating the Bob and Tom joke in chat.
Bob and Tom.
I know, right?
Who?
Unryo-san. Unryo-san. So, okay. Thank you for that. So,
Yes, Bob and Tom. Yay.
let's go over some basic types of bread, some actual specifics of bread, though. Let's start with sourdough. Sourdough, generally attributed to a shape of either French bread, which gets stretched out and not really flavored to anything, or in a spherical or flattened crusted form with a little thicker crust, usually a cross-marked top to allow for a little extra expansion and for oxidization, and with a relatively hard crust. Now, sourdough, as Bahama was mentioning earlier, you can get that really good crustiness to it, and it absorbs flavor so incredibly well.
Right.
So incredibly well. So let's say you want something to match with a good soup, a good, hearty, rich soup that's going to absorb that flavor. You want a sourdough. You absolutely want a sourdough. Dip it in that soup. Just get it all in that soup. Get that bread mixing with the flavors. So good. Let's say you want a nice, crusty, rich sandwich. You know, get some Swiss going on, get some ham. You're going to want to panini press that son of a bitch down.
Make yourself a croque monsieur.
Ooh, yeah, that is magic right there.
We need to do a croque monsieur recipe.
Oh my god.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm already getting ideas now.
Ooh.
No, prawn to toast. This is on the line. We talk about cooking and kitchen work and restaurant business and all different things that are food.
We talk about bread a day.
I'm fine with that.
That's just the bread. This is on the bread with Dan and DJB.
Now, a sourdough is usually begun with a starter or a starter load or a starter dough. That is eventually converted into a mother dough, which is usually held in large containers like trash can sized containers to be fed and to nurture and to continue growing over the course of decades. Now, American mother doughs are usually between maybe 100 to 50 years old. Some don't go, no, they don't go farther back than that. European mother doughs,
Oh man,
they go back a long time. There are some
great grandparents.
There are some mother doughs in Europe that go back hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. It's insane.
Sneer bread every day.
Now, these mother doughs that sourdough is based off of, and is kind of the general palate for a lot of those kinds of Western European and American breads are based off of. They could be flavored to a lot of different types of bread. They could be converted into, different types of bread. Generally, it's a French loaf or a sandwich loaf that they're put into, but they can be flavored. They can be, tossed around a little bit. They can be turned into different kinds of bread. It's really a very flexible kind of thing. And that's generally how restaurants make their bread. That's what you're getting at your table.
Yep.
Next up, similar but different, is the French baguette. I'm sure you all have had a French baguette. It is again based off. It is based off of starter. a simple starter sourdough or a mother dough. And now, it is a very specific recipe, though, in that it is baked and twisted, or rather twisted and baked. So it's actually pulled out and stretched into the form and twisted and then set to bake. And it's a very specific kind of move. It's a very specific kind of hand motion that you're looking to do.
Little Zen bread making there for you.
It's a lot of fun to make. I've only made it a scant few times. A minor history, too, coming from the Wikipedia article on baguette. The word simply means wand or baton in French. So there you go.
That makes me think that reading Harry Potter in French would be really interesting because it would constantly talk about baguettes.
Yep. Baguette is also very good for dipping in soups. It has a little bit of a fluffierness inside it because it's cooked differently from sourdough. Now, the reason this is, certain breads are cooked with steam injection versus a convection oven or a standard stone oven. Okay. Now, steam injection means it's going to have a little less crustiness to it, and it's going to have that softer interior that accepts sauces a little better, that accepts butters and oils a little better, which is why table bread is specifically a French baguette. It has that little bit extra softness that is good with oils and with the butters that are served at a restaurant.
Oh, I've worked at tons of places that served, oil, vinegar. As a matter of fact, the restaurant I managed, actually, that was the appetizer. You have your little basket of bread, and then while you're doing your server introduction, you throw down your oil, then you put a couple drops of the balsamic in there, and bam, there's your appetizer.
I've always done the olive oil, Parmesan cheese, like that's fine grate Parmesan cheese, and a little bit of black pepper.
Oh, yeah.
And I can actually eat that, too, thankfully enough.
That's good.
Yeah.
I would hate to deny anyone bread.
Which it's
especially
delicious.
If it's spicy.
It's delicious. French baguette has been around for ages. And it is also another very relatively simple loaf. Beyond the hand motion and beyond having a steam injection oven, it's pretty much the same as making a sourdough. Pretty much the same. So, let's go to something a little more complex that I was talking about earlier. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my absolute favorite breads of all time, focaccia.
Oh, God, I love focaccia.
I so love focaccia. So much. There are so many things you can do with focaccia. Focaccia is baked in a standard convection oven. You don't really do steam injection with it because it has so much liquid with it already. It's not well risen, all things considered. Usually, you don't have to use a mother dough with a focaccia. I've seen people do it before. It comes out very differently than I like it. It doesn't. So you're going to make your dough. You're going to let it rise. You're going to portion it out into the large discs. And then you're going to put as much oil and seasonings as you possibly can on top of it.
Just dump it on there.
Just as much oil. Use a brush. It's usually the best if you use a brush. And just get all of that oil into the bread and on top of it. All that flavorings. Season it the hell up. Put some veggies on top of it even. Like some green peppers, some jalapenos. I've seen people do a jalapeno focaccia. I can't eat it, but it looks heavenly. Like these big chunks of baked in jalapenos and spices, and it's just this golden brown perfection.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. It really it is amazing. Naan bread, we're going to talk about naan bread here soon. But after you oil it up, you let it rise a little longer. You're going to have 2 different rise sessions with this. I saw my dad actually do, I believe it was 3 different rise sessions. Anywho, after it's risen and it's ready to go with the oils on it, you give it a little more seasoning, get it in the oven, and you're good. You don't even need to let it rise too long. It's a very wet dough. It's a very thick dough. You do not have to move it slowly. You can do it fast. And it's a lot of fun. It is a challenge because you have to move it quickly. But it's accepting of a lot of flavors. You can put cheese all over the top of it. You can bake on so much stuff the focaccia and flavor it up. Really give it a lot of life.
Mm.
It is so good. I love to make sandwiches with focaccia.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh my goodness. Because it's got a nice thickness to it. It does have a little bit of crustiness, just a little bit, because of that oils and how it's baked. It's going to have that golden brown perfection. And it's just, I wouldn't recommend people, just go with focaccia. Get a couple years experience before you try it. But once you get it,
it'll treat you right.
It is so good. It really is so good.
Focaccia is amazing.
It is. Have you had any specific kinds of focaccia you really liked?
Trying to think. Honestly, I guess I've been fairly plain with the focaccia I've had. Most of the time, it's just like a standard, like herbed focaccia.
Sure.
Nothing. But I was sitting there like pondering in my head what would be great. It would be awesome to do like a Parmesan kind of crust on top would be really good to kind of get like because Parmesan inherently has just a little bit of a bitter twinge to it.
Yes.
And personally, like most people don't like bitter as a flavor, but bitter is a very important flavor in balancing. So I actually like it. I like a little bit of bitter. It's kind of weird. One of my favorite fast food burgers is actually Burger King because they charbroil, which means they burn the edges a lot of times.
Yep.
I kind of like that.
I like Burger King too, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a little strange.
It's the only
fast food.
It's the only fast food I'll do. It's the only fast food I'll do. But
but see that's why though, is because it does include a flavor that you don't see quite as often.
Yes.
And to have that little bit of bitter twinge to it is just it's perfect to me. I love it.
Do you like olives?
Oh, I fucking love olives.
So
oh my God.
You've obviously had an olive loaf before.
Right.
You can throw not just olives, but throw bell peppers into a focaccia. Oh my God.
Really?
It comes out good. I would not lead you astray with this.
I wouldn't expect you to do that. I would absolutely take your word on this. I don't have the wherewithal to make this kind of bread, but if I ever see it available, I will eat the absolute shit out of it.
If you like olive focaccia, usually people serve it with peppers, as well.
Right.
Usually it's going to be well seasoned, as focaccia usually is. It's not going to have cheese on it. If I, remember my olive focaccias, I've only experienced 4 or 5 of them in my entire life, but they've never had cheese.
It would be necessary. I don't necessarily think olives are always that great with like a cheese like that.
Yeah, but it comes out really well. And I don't even like olives.
Really?
No.
My girlfriend doesn't like olives. I don't understand.
I don't.
It doesn't compute in my head.
I don't. It's also if you're celiacs, do not eat focaccia. Focaccia is probably one of the worst things you can physically eat because of how dense it is.
Oh God, yeah. It's like all fucking gluten. It's pure just gluten en masse.
It's even worse than most. So, moving on to a little more Central and Eastern European rye breads. Everyone loves a good Reuben. Everyone loves a good Reuben. So that marble rye, that stuff. You love it. Now,
I like it with a patty melt too.
Yes. Yes, get a couple thin burger patties going, some cheese.
Caramelized onions.
So absolutely. Now, rye breads are, generally speaking, from Baltic countries, Russia. We're talking like Northern European countries, Poland, Sweden, Finland, those countries. What are those called?
Scandinavia.
Scandinavian countries. There we go. And it's generally speaking based off of those hardier grains that you run into.
You get colder weather up there, you really got to have something that really kind of gets those calories up because you're burning through them.
Yes. In addition, they're also characterized with high flavor. Very high flavor. They're a little rougher. They usually have a very solid outer crust and a lot going on inside.
Very textured.
If you want a great bread to pair with, let's say, a rich meat, a protein, or you say you want to make something that's a more complicated sandwich than just, oh, I want to slap a couple pieces of bread and meat together and have some fun. Like you're trying to make a more gourmet sandwich, you want to go rye bread. You absolutely want to go rye bread. Also, the best toast, rye bread.
Oh, God, yeah.
Rise across the board. You have so much going on. You have the seeds still in the mix. You have a lot of flavor. You're going to get such a great flavor out of that.
I'm wondering, how would rye taste as a French toast?
It would be very complicated because I don't think it mixes
Yeah.
well with the egg.
That's what I was thinking. That's the kind of thing that goes through my head. I'm like, wonder if I could do this.
I don't think it'd go well with the egg.
So that's good to know.
I would certainly think you should try it.
Maybe.
I wouldn't go in on it personally.
I'm gonna take your word on this one. Just out of curiosity, I thought I'd throw that in there.
But you also have the classics, the really good sandwiches that have stood the test of time. The Reubens. Reubens especially. You throw some corned beef and cabbage on a couple pieces of rye bread, some marble rye. Oh.
Woo.
Oh.
Have mercy.
Hot meat and that delicious sauerkraut all over the place.
He wants that hot meat, baby.
That's good stuff right there. Wheat bread is an offshoot of rye bread. It's kind of like the American white bread version of rye bread. Quickly manufactured, but still with a lot of the quality that the original products tend to benefit a bread. You're going to have a very seeded bread. It's going to be rough in texture. It's going to be a little crustier, but it's more of that quick manufacture kind of wheat bread.
Happens.
Yeah, well, that's really just what it is.
Yeah, it's how it has to be.
But it really, if you want to make just a truly impressive sandwich, you're gonna want to go with rye bread and make sure you pair it properly because the bread is going to speak, absolutely, in a major way. So, talking about more complicated breads, specifically ones that are much more intensive to make. We're going to go to an Italian bread now in ciabatta.
Of course.
Ciabatta is a fantastic sandwich bread. I love a good Cuban on ciabatta. Love a good Cuban on ciabatta.
That's the key word right there is Cubans. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. The pairing of that old Italian bread with those meats, it really is great. Now, while the actual ingredients for ciabatta are very similar, if not almost exactly the same to sourdough, it is not prepared in the same way at all. At all. You are not using a mother dough. Some people would argue me on that point. With that point, I would happy to hear the argument. I'm not going to entertain it right now, though.
None here.
The big problem with ciabatta comes in what's called pulling the ciabatta. Do you know this process at all?
Pulling the ciabatta.
Yes. Yes. I love ciabatta. It's great hot. I will agree with that, but I would eat it cold too, to be honest. Anywho.
Yeah.
When you're making ciabatta, you have a very large pan of it that's ready to go, just as a big, huge lump of dough. What's called pulling the ciabatta is grabbing a hunk, pulling, taking the dough knife, cutting as fast as you can, pulling and twisting, and laying it out on the pan to bake. And you have to do that in an accurate and quick motion all at once.
That sounds like Mission Impossible bread style. That's every time you make ciabatta, you just hear do 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 do.
I watched my dad make it for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. And I've never truly gotten the motion down. I've gotten close.
Yeah.
But I've never truly gotten the motion down. It is so hard to do.
Really?
But it is delicious. It is a traditional, wonderful, it can be a more weedy bread if you decide to put those ingredients in. It can just be more of a sourdough kind of bread too, and it is so accepting of flavors. It comes out with this nice, perfect form. If you make it properly, it's going to be perfectly cooked, and it's just, it's so good. It's so good. I love it. So, speaking of some of those more fancier breads that we appreciate here in the United States, something that comes from Sweden and some of the more Central Eastern European countries, Zopf. Zopf.
What?
Zopf.
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 How do you spell that?
Zopf.
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 All right. This is literally the first time I'm hearing of this. I
Originally,
have no idea what that is.
Originally from Switzerland, it is that heavily knotted and weaved bread loaf. So it doesn't look like just one loaf of bread. It looks like this tube of bread that's been pulled in and knotted in on each other. It is a somewhat sweeter bread. Like, it's going to taste normal for us.
Wow. If you Google image search Zopf, it does not bring up bread.
Really?
Yeah.
No one do that. I'll link it.
I'm seeing a whole lot of browsers. I'm seeing a couple of really obnoxious selfies.
Here, okay, I'm pasting it in the chat for everyone to appreciate.
Okay, there's finally a bread. Okay, I finally, after like 400 images, I see some actual bread. Like the third picture is just some obnoxious little high school girl's like selfie.
It is a dessert bread. It's got some people.
Yes, I do know what this is.
Some people put cream in it. That's not in the traditional recipe, but I certainly understand it. It has eggs in addition to a lot of the other normal ingredients. It is a very rich bread, and it is so fantastic. Zopf is delicious, to say the least. I have no idea how to make it. I have never made this bread. Ever. I've read the instructions, and I don't want to attempt it.
I heard that. A little daunting. It's a task.
Yeah, but it is so delicious. Again, it's more of a dessert bread.
That is definitely what you would call artisanal.
Yes. Generally speaking, you would put a sweet cream butter on it. Oh, yes.
So it's extra healthy.
It's yeah. Again, it's a dessert bread. It would taste relatively normal to us, though, at least from what I understand.
Yeah.
Americanized recipes, again, use some heavy cream, so you have to be gentle with it. Heavy cream does not usually work in bread, and I don't know how people make it work.
It would be really, really finicky.
Yes, absolutely. I have a pancake recipe that involves a little bit of heavy cream, and you have to be so careful with it. So careful. We can talk about that later if so inclined.
We need to do like a breakfast foods episode.
Okay. We're not gonna talk about that right now because I'm having an emotional moment. The last specific kind of bread I wanted to talk about is something everyone in here will probably recognize as being so perfect and so delicious. Naan bread.
Oh, of course.
Naan bread is essentially unleavened bread. Pretty much. It's usually made with an exceptional amount of cooking fat. Yogurt sometimes is used in the cooking of it. And it has a very wonderful, subtle, unique flavor to it. It's usually cooked on the insides of these large, very hot bowls.
Oh man, the process of cooking naan is so fascinating.
It is.
Like,
it cooks.
Really look up authentic naan cooking, like in India. Oh man, it's so cool.
It cooks so quickly that you have to be very careful with it, but it comes out amazing. It cooks so fast, the milk and the yogurt in it doesn't have time to curdle.
Oh yeah, they just slap that shit on like the side of a red hot bowl, like this big freaking like oven type thing.
And speaking of something we were talking about earlier, which was your dips you were going on about, naan bread,
Naan and hummus
great.
are just absolutely hand in hand. Those are absolutely wonderful. Naan is one of those things that not only is it just good by itself, just to like accompany, say delicious Indian food, some little tandoori chicken, all that good stuff. But
I can't eat any of that.
I know, and it sucks.
Naan bread is the only thing I can eat from an Indian restaurant.
I mean, they are the spice country of the capital of the world, so it's understandable. There's some stuff in there that's probably a little dangerous for you, but you can use naan because a lot of times naan become like it comes thicker. It could just be like a little, like almost like a taco, I guess you could say. You could literally just put whatever kind of food you like on the inside. What would be really great would be like a lamb, almost like a Greek thing. Actually, would be really good.
Oh
for you.
yeah,
Because Greek food is not heavy on like heat spice.
Yep.
So you could do like some cubed like lamb.
Oh yeah,
a little bit of like fennel, some cucumbers,
some tzatziki sauce or whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I was getting the you got the lamb, you got the
you have like a hero mix going on there.
Yeah, exactly. You could totally make a gyro. You can make a gyro, Dan.
Is it gyro or hero?
It's totally hero.
Okay.
Gyro is wrong in every facet of the meaning.
That's what I thought.
You're ruining my attempts to fuck
I'm
with
sorry.
you,
I thought you were just being Texan.
Okay, that could be shots fired, but it's also true.
It's also true.
It's also very true. But yeah, just like the protein, cucumber, red onion, feta, tzatziki. You don't like kalamata, so that wouldn't be good. But if for regular people who don't suck, would put kalamata olives in there.
Speaking of shots fired.
But yeah, no, that would be really good because those would be like a lot of cool flavors that would still very, very strong and would be great in pita. So
again, naan bread characterized by a very certain softness to it. It does have a little bit of crustiness on the top where it starts to bubble up, but
Right.
it's generally a very soft, very pliable bread that can accept a lot of different flavors. Again, it has this very subtleness to it, but at the same time, it just has this deliciousness. At the same time, this simplicity to it.
It's
And
so
it's
good.
just amazing. It really is
Absolutely.
amazing.
And there's very little that you would eat, like a dish that usually comes with some sort of like bread product that it wouldn't fit. Like I would eat naan with like chili.
Oh, yeah.
I would eat the shit out of some naan with some chili.
You could dip it in soups. It can accept sauces, dips. You can even throw some meat and cheese in with it and just have a nice little snack.
pairs well with just about anything.
Oh my
it's not
God.
so overly powerful,
Mhm.
or like a lot of breads, obviously, just given their form, they have to be eaten a certain way. But naan is just like a flat thing, and you can do it. It's whatever you want with it.
You can do so many things with it. And
Breakfast naan.
ooh,
Do you see what I'm trying to throw at you here, Dan?
Ooh,
Just so you know.
maybe a little hash browns and cheese with it.
Oh,
Oh,
baby.
maybe a
Let me
little.
tell you.
Maybe dip it in a little breakfast gravy.
Or maybe even do like a little oh god, what is it, the eggs benedict,
Ooh,
yeah,
just
Not a
right
whole
on
lot.
top. Just right on
Yeah,
top.
just like a little drizzle. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, naan's the way to go. Do just about anything you
Naan
want
can
with
do
it.
so many things, guys. It is a difficult recipe to make, but it's so worth it. And it's just, naan is amazing.
You would eat naan with more naan. Double naan surprise. I like it. That's how you do it.
Make a naan sandwich. 2 things of naan, something inside. Who cares what it is?
More naan. Triple naan. Fuck it.
So the next thing I want to talk about, the last specific bread, unleavened, that I wanted to speak on was tacos.
Tacos.
Yeah, the traditional taco shells.
I love me some tacos.
Discus has it in chat. How many things don't work with it? None.
Get out.
Oh, no, we love him. Discus, you're automatically my new best friend.
I'm just playing. I'm just kidding. I don't mean it.
So, taco shells, or what would be the traditional term for this? Tortillas.
Tortillas.
Originally made with corn, if I remember correctly.
They can be, or they can be made with flour.
There you go. And they can do
maíz or harissa, or excuse me, no, elote is corn. There's a very specific word for Mexican flour, and I forget what it's called. And I'm kind of embarrassed because I'm usually pretty good with stuff like that.
Well, point being, there are so many things you can do with tortillas as well. Not only can you wrap different proteins and vegetables in them and go right at it, it's a great way to make a different kind of sandwich.
Absolutely. It is a staple of Mexican, South American, Tex-Mex, like all of it. Like it is extremely rare that I don't have a bag of some kind of tortillas in my pantry. Like, and I'm serious. I'm not joking. Like it's extremely rare.
And not only can you make a sandwich out of them, you can cut them up and you can deep fry them.
Oh, baby.
Oh my
Show you
goodness.
a little something here. I made homemade Doritos.
Oh.
Did I show you those?
Yes, you did.
I did. Yeah.
I
man.
think we need to show the chat though.
Do we?
I think we need to show the chat.
My profile here.
Because, folks, tortillas can do so much.
Well, I mean, it's all tortilla chips. You know, it's either potato or tortilla. That's where most people get chips.
Yep.
Crisps. Ooh, actually, you know what? This is unrelated, but I'm going to show this picture off anyway because I enjoy it. We had a Korean fusion at one of our favorite restaurants called Peached Tortilla. Ironically enough, tortilla, it is sort of related, but it was fried kimchi balls. Oh my God, look at that shit. Right
and
there.
Yes, Kino, this show is partially revenge for the food porn you and Captain Breadwell throw at me.
Oh, great Canadian North. Te quieres español. Ay. Sí.
Oh my God.
Es muy sabroso.
Can we see El Bahamut for just a moment here?
You want to see some El Bahamut? Is that what you want from me? Do you want to see the El Bahamut? El Bahamut. El Bahamut. Ay, Dios mío. El Bahamut. Aquí, por favor.
What?
There he is.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Get that tequila, pop the cork, dump it in there. Snake, poison, smoking. Take the shot, eat it, smack the money down, lay the snake down, bust out the dough. Wait, no door, just the wall. And we're done. Okay, here we go. I found back on track. I did fine. So basically, what I did was I took corn tortillas and I just cut them into 1, 2, 3, so it makes fairly big pieces. And I fried them up to where they were, perfect, slightly golden brown. And as they were still hot and oily, I put them in a bowl, and I just used the seasoning, the pineapple fajita chicken seasoning that I have batched because I love it so much, and just tossed that shit in there, tossed it up, made homemade Doritos.
Booyah!
Delicious, so good. I literally have tortilla chips right here.
Look at that. They're ready to go.
I that's both a testament to the fact that I live in Texas and am also fat.
I think everyone here is fat. Let's just be a support group for ourselves.
Things to say is fat is just as much an attitude as it is a physical state of being. I know a lot of really fat people who are also technically skinny in real life. So, I mean, I'm proud of it. You know what? I'm proud of it. I'll live up to it.
Apparently, you are attractive to Canadian bacon on a level of Garrus.
Really? Wow. That's a compliment.
That's impressive.
That is.
Because I'd bang the fuck out of Garrus.
Who wouldn't bang the fuck out of Garrus? I mean, that's a list that includes none. Just saying. That's some xenomorphic, freaky deaky right there.
Woo!
Getting hot up in her.
Speaking of hot, there are even more things you can do with tortillas. There are more things. Not only can you take them and simply wrap food in them, you can fold them on top of each other with ingredients and cheese to make the magical quesadilla.
Oh,
quesadilla
Quesadillas.
and bake it or fry it up in that format.
Now, here's a bit of education for you. When it comes to food of this nature, Tex-Mex, which, by the way, let's go ahead and set it down right now. Tex-Mex and Mexican are very different foods. Tex-Mex has a lot of shit that Mexican does not. And like authentic Mexican food is very different and very amazing. But you have the corn tortillas and the flour tortillas, right? If you wrap up some food in a corn tortilla, put a little sauce on top, that is called an enchilada. If you do the exact same thing with a flour tortilla, that is a burrito. Not the same thing. If you get flour with your enchiladas, you're just eating little bitty burritos.